Hi, hi, and welcome to my podcast, Discourses. Here, I introduce you to new and interesting people from different walks of life. And today, I have here Filippo. Filippo is a dear friend of mine, and he's a recent graduate and also a rugby player. He's completed his studies at Trinity College, Dublin, in logistics and supply chain. In the meantime, he was also playing for the Trinity rugby team. He still plays for the rugby team there. He introduced me to the world of rugby, and I've seen him play. And also, we got together to do assignments together. So we know each other comparatively well. I can tell you this, I can tell you he's a fun guy to be around with. And so, thanks for being here, my man. How are things?
Thank you for inviting me, Akil. It's a pleasure for me being here and to answer to all your questions.
Okay, it's a pleasure to host you too. So I've recently started getting to know about rugby, and I know rugby is one of the most high contact sports out there. So it got me wondering, like, what made you attracted to rugby in the first place?
Yes, so I started playing rugby when I was 6. I started because a friend of mine asked me to start this new sport with him. And at first I didn't know what sport was it. Because when I was 6, like in Italy, I'm from Italy, people, I mean, children, and usually they want to play football, and football is the main sport in Italy.
Of course, yeah.
So he asked me to join him to play this sport that at that time I didn't know, and this sport was rugby. Since I started, I kind of loved this sport because when I was young, I loved like running, and in this sport, it's really important like to run. And also it's a team sport, so you have your teammates. And I think that in all the sports that involve a team effort, it's always like really funny compared to sport like practiced individually.
Okay, that sounds fair enough. Like, were you interested in any other sports during the time, or was rugby the only aim you had?
So yes, since I was like 4 or 5 years old, I have always wanted to do track and field. Because since I was young, I knew, comparing myself with my peers, that I was the fastest.
Okay.
So yeah, so my dream when I was young was to be the fastest man on earth.
Okay.
Yes.
Much like Usain Bolt.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to be white Usain Bolt. And so yes, so I always wanted like to do track and field, and I did it for 10 years. No, for 10, 12 years, because I started it when I started rugby as well. So when I was 6, and I stopped doing that when I was 18. I was really good also in track and field.
Okay.
But then I decided to continue playing rugby because I had more fun and less pressure as well.
And
because it's less stressful. Team efforts are less stressful. They're like individual efforts in sport, in my experience.
Yeah, in track and field, I think the only team effort would be relay. That's a team
relay,
effort. Yeah. Apart from that, it's all individual. It's glory for one. But when you win in rugby, you win for all. Yes. And so, coming back to rugby, I'd like to know what possession you play at. Like, I know there are like 15 players playing on the field at one time, and then there's like front row, second row, back row, and then halfbacks.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you studied.
Yeah, I did my research.
You studied. Yes.
So where exactly do you play?
Yeah. So in rugby, there are like 15 players. 8 of them are forwards, and 7 of them are backs. So forwards are those who represent the scrum.
Okay.
While the backs are those usually who are a bit more skilled and who run faster.
Okay.
So my position is usually wing. but I can also play fullback if it's required.
Okay.
So I play wing. Wing means I stay. So on the pitch, I stay next to the sideline. So on one of the two sides of the pitch, and I have this position because, as I told you, I've always been like quite quick, and I am still like fast because I'm good at 1v1, 1v1. And also, it's in my position, you have to be good at like manage to avoid the opponents in large spaces,
like
because
breaking through.
Yes, because in rugby, the wider you are, the more space there is. So wings has to be really good at like taking the space and break the lines, break the opponent line, of course. And we are supposed to score a lot.
The ones who play at your position are supposed to like score a lot. Okay.
Yes.
I had this in mind, like in rugby, different possessions require different physique. Like in the front, people are much more buff, much more like sturdier. They're much more scarier looking. While at your position, people are much more agile and flexible. They need to like move out around. They need to like tackle incoming people. What do you think about that?
Yes, like from this point of view, rugby is a really inclusive sport because whatever body shape you have, you can find the position that is suitable for your like physique, for your body. For example, there is the front row of the forwards who usually are short and really, really strong. The second row are like really big, but also really tall. And then there is also the number 9, who is the scrum half. The number 9 has to be usually it's like short and really agile. And usually the fastest in a team, they play wings. So yes, from this point of view, it's really like inclusive sport. There is not a specific physique or specific body shape that is standardized to be the best player.
And so like realistically, if I do start training, how long would it take for me to get into a proper team like Trinity?
Start from scratch, you mean?
Start from scratch, like hypothetically speaking. What's the training like?
Okay, so in Trinity we have 4 or 5 teams. So for sure, if you start from scratch, you will start training with the like lower teams, like the 4th team or the 3rd one. So I think, like, technically speaking, rugby is not so complex technical. So your skills, I mean, you need skill, but not as much as other sports like football. I have like this feeling. So it might require shorter time to learn rugby skills, but still, I think, like, to play at a decent level, you need at least, I would say, 2 years.
2 years, okay.
2 years, more or less 2 years. Yes, like a training session is just, at first we run a lap of the field. Then we warm up legs and arms and body. And then we do a bit of handling. So handling means like some passes to train, like to pass and to do some skills. Then we are usually split. We are split in forward and backs, and we do like differentiate like session exercises. So the backs, for example, so each group of the team, they do specific skills, functional to their position. So in our case, the backs, they usually like try the shapes. Shapes mean it's kind of the strategy you want to use during the match to break the line
like
score.
patterns.
Yes, are like
Kinda like-
patterns
Mhm.
and moves of players
Mhm.
with and without the ball.
Okay.
So we train these shapes, split, so forwards and backs, and afterwards we merge the team and we play 15 against 15, and we try the shapes we trained earlier. And yes, that's all. And at the end of the training, we usually do stretching as well.
Okay. And I mean, even if I don't become a rugby player, I would like to train like one, you know. So
you can do it if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not with our team because it's already like all like players are really like experienced players.
Yeah.
So they all have been playing rugby for many years.
Okay.
But for sure, if you want to start in Trinity, you have the opportunity to start from scratch in lower teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good start. I think it's like also the environment is really good, and usually Irish people are really friendly, welcoming us also.
Okay, I'll look into that. Now, in terms of scoring in rugby, like in football, it's simple to understand. You just have to like take the ball and pass it through the opponent's goalpost. How does scoring work in rugby?
So yeah, so many people mess it up a bit with American football.
Mm-hmm.
So in American football, so on the two sides of the pitch, there is an area that is called the try area. Okay. On the two sides. Uh-huh. So on American football, the player just need to have the ball in his hands
and
in the try area to score, let's say. Mm-hmm. In rugby,
you have to
you need to have the ball in the try area, but also you need to place the ball on the ground.
On the ground, yes.
Otherwise, it's not a score. So you don't need just your body to be in the try area, but you also need to place it, to lay it on the grass with your hands.
And when you do it, you get 5 points, yes?
And when you do it, you get 5 points, and then you have to kick between the posts, and those are other 2 points.
Extra 2 points, yes?
Extra 2 points. So overall, you can have maximum up to 7 points for a try.
And then is there a penalty? I think, of course, there's a penalty if you do something foul, and you get like how many points for that?
So there is also the penalty kick. The penalty kick, for example, there is a penalty kick, for example, if there are many offsides by the opponents, or for example, if there is a tackle that is too high, so it's considered dangerous. Too high, I mean that you tackle, for example, the neck of the opponent and you cannot. So that's a penalty. So the penalty kick can, so if it's right, so if it's between the two posts, it gives you 3 points. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Actually, it's not worth giving free penalty to the opponents because with just like 3 penalty kicks, they have 9 points. That's more than the 7 points of a single try. So I would never advise in a strategy to
commit fouls.
Yes. To commit like penalties and this kind of things.
It's hard not to commit a foul, given that it's a high contact sport. You should be careful with the opponent then.
Oh yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. And so what's the future for you looking like? Like when you see sports people, they have an aim of getting into the national team and then playing at the highest level. So is it something like that for you too?
So yes, definitely. So all the players have, I mean, if you're a sporty guy, usually you always set your goals. Sometimes are achievable, sometimes it's a bit harder to achieve them. I think it's important to be like realistic. In my personal case, my goal would be to play in the AIL.
Okay.
So to play at least one game in the AIL. AIL is the highest national Irish rugby division.
Okay.
The senior team in Trinity is playing in this division. That is the highest at the national level. I will fight for this goal. It's not easy because the competition is really high. But I will do my best to achieve this result. But I will never give up. Even if I won't achieve this result this year, I will fight also the next year for the same goal, maybe with other club, who knows.
So more power to you for that. And so I like to close with that, but then again, I like something extra from you. I'd like to know what you live by, like maybe a quote or a movie dialogue that you live by. Like, what is that?
So honestly, I don't have any quote that I can advise you. I don't like to express myself with sentences made by someone else. So I prefer to express myself with my sentences and my words.
Even better then.
No, so I just think like whatever goal you have in sports or in life, it's really important to have like resilience and to be constant. So to work constantly, because in the long run, the sacrifices will be paid off. But you have to be patient. You don't have to rush. Also because the more time you require to get a result, the more you will appreciate it. So if you fight for a goal and you get it in just 1 month, you will appreciate it. And we both agree. But if you get it in 3 years, you will appreciate it much more.
Okay.
So I think this is really important, because like there are many people who want to achieve something, but they want to do it like immediately in 1 month. I want to achieve this, and if they don't achieve that in 1 month, they give up or they are tired of doing that thing though. So yes, they quit. And I think like it's really important that you work in the long run. And I'm sure in the long run you will be paid off, and also to enjoy the process. I always think it's important, because if you achieve something but you didn't enjoy the process, I mean, it's not that. I mean, once you achieve the goal, you say, and now what's next? While if you enjoy the process, you can like take the best out of each moment. And even if you don't achieve the result, you enjoyed a lot the process, so you're not so disappointed
anyway
with yourself. Yes, you win anyway. Exactly, you win anyway. So that's important as well.
Okay. I have nothing more to add to that. That's a good line to live by. And so, with that said, we come to the end of this episode. Hope you liked it, and if you do like it a lot, please do share it amongst your friends. And until next time, bye.
Thank you. Bye, Akil.
Thank you. Bye bye.